Hi there, welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new. I am JD with Grace Grit and Grind, and I wanted to take you on this journey. It's authentically one that I've personally been on, and some of you may be on or have been on yourself. But I want you to just imagine you have this tall ladder, right? And before I move on, I'm going to refer to some of my notes because I don't want to miss some of the points that I want to make. But let's go back to the ladder. You don't need to bring anything with you on this trip. You're going to earn every piece of what you get. Okay. So you are looking for a job and you got it. You earned it. Congratulations. They chose you. You interviewed well, and they chose you out of 100, maybe even 1,000 candidates. Who knows these days? But you got the job. Congratulations. So now you are in the position to prove yourself because you don't want them to think they hired you by mistake or they chose the wrong candidate. So you're going to prove yourself. So now you're busy learning your role, you're learning the business, you're learning the culture, you're learning your employees and your coworkers, your manager, you're learning it all. And you're doing your thing. And now you're set out to prove yourself. So you're doing your thing. So congratulations. You got your crossbody bag, and that is the first indication that you are in there and you are planning to stay. Okay. So good job. And so now you bury your head again. You're just trying to prove yourself and put your footprint in the business. And so you have your first meeting and your promotion and the next step for you is dangled in front of you. So, yes, you have earned your way and you're on the way to that next promotion if and only if you can show a little bit more loyalty. If you can stay a little bit beyond the time you're due to get off, just to show that you're not watching the clock. Hey, how about covering your peers and maybe doing the work of two to three people? Maybe even cover your manager every now and then as much as you can, right? Just to show that you have that leadership ability. Okay, you go back, you do it because you're a little more invested now. And so next time you meet with your manager, congratulations, you got that promotion. Yes, you have earned that messenger bag to go with your crossbody. As a matter of fact, you are the messenger because at this point now, you are stuck between your crunch between your subordinates and your manager. So you might feel like a messenger every now and then, but hey, you got that promotion. Now you are working hard for your team or whoever you report to or in your new role, and you are putting out fires, you are starting to get projects, all while learning your new role that you got there. So congratulations. You worked hard. Now it's getting interesting because you can't really socialize with your subordinates like you used to, but yet you're not too much of a leader to where you can hang with your managers, at least not comfortably. So it gets interesting. Also gets a little lonely at this point. Maybe not for you, speaking from experience. So you keep plugging along, and because you got to get closer to the top, and you take on more and more projects, you take on more and more tasks, because after all, you got to prove yourself, right? And you are trying to get to that next role, at least before Sally Sue gets it, or maybe you're just competing with yourself, which might be it's a little more healthier than competing against someone else. But you know your worth, you know your value, and you are now fully dedicated, and you're working way beyond 40 hours a week. Okay, you've gotten a few reviews, right? You heard all the strengths. Well, in general, they give you your strengths. But then if you want another promotion, you're going to hear your weaknesses and your opportunities in great detail. Oh, yeah. They generalize your strengths, but you're going to hear your weaknesses and how you get the next promotion and why you haven't gotten your next promotion. You're going to hear that in great detail, which, In some cases it's fine, right? Because you need to know what you're working on. You probably already know what you're good at, but it's also good to hear what you've done and your successes and your accomplishments, right? Just as much in detail as it is when you hear what you need to work on. So you go back to the sandbox and you bury your hand, your hand and your head, your feet, everything probably in the sandbox because you are determined to get to that next level. You are determined that you are so worthy of that next promotion that you sacrifice and you are there and you're digging through and you become the yes person for that next project, the yes person for that next task because they're going to throw it at you because they know it's going to stick. You know, the word no doesn't even occur to you, perhaps only in your personal life, perhaps only with your family. Hey, I don't have time, or my plate is full. I'm overwhelmed. Maybe that's saved for your home life. They don't really ever hear it from you at work. Let that register. So, you've mastered the free projects that they've given you. You've helped the team achieve their awards, and because you've become the yes or gal or guy, you know, some things are starting to slip because you don't know how to say no. You might start missing deadlines. Your work is not as quality because you've said yes. Oh, but you're fixated on that promotion. And you hear in the back of your mind, you have that inkling, okay, something's not quite right. Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to stop. Maybe I need to reassess. But you ignore it because you are trying to go for that next step on your big, tall ladder. You want that promotion. You got to provide for your family. I get it. Okay, so then now um, you've done it. You've earned your promotion. You went and you worked on all the things they said you need to work on, and you finally earned it. You earned that suitcase. So now, to go with your crossbody bag, your messenger bag, you have that suitcase. And think about all the things, the little trinkets you can use to accessorize it. Oh, you showed up to work early, you left late, you were dedicated, you have worked countless hours, well, 60 plus hours, and never missed a day. You even forwent some of your vacation or your PTO time. You even came in sick. Good for you. Go you. You're doing it. You've even mastered the ability to have those disciplinary action conversations with those employees who are trying to figure work life balance out. You've even probably terminated some of the employees because of workforce changes, adjustments, and restructures, and maybe they've become displaced because they are no longer needed. They're no longer in the big vision of the company. Someone else's dream, perhaps. And so the cycle continues. You've reached the one last step before you might be satisfied. But are you satisfied yet? Have you reached your goal? How do you feel? Are you fulfilled? Satisfied? Successful? Are you tired? Are you empty? Are you feeling like there's a void and there's much more that's above the ladder or that you haven't seen yet? Is your luggage getting heavy yet? So enough about you. Let's talk about your family. How do they feel? Do you know? How is that spouse feeling when they finally thought they had the time to have that much needed deep conversation with you and you're barely listening, you're barely there? How about your daughter when you missed her event? Or perhaps she wanted to get your perspective on something and you just didn't have the time because you couldn't miss that project. How about your son? You told him you'd go to his next event, next game, next debate, because you couldn't possibly miss this next deadline because that could cost you your next promotion. How does that feel? How about your aging mom or your dad? The phone call you have yet to make, that aunt and uncle, the estranged sibling. How about the one that really supported you all your life? Maybe your first steps, but now they're in a nursing home. They hadn't heard or seen from you. Haven't heard from you or seen you in a while. What about them? But now back to you. How are you? How's your peace? Do you still have passion? Do you still feel that you have purpose? How about peace? You feel peace? Good. I sincerely hope and pray that you keep that and don't lose sight of that as you pursue some other dreams. Maybe that one tall ladder you feel is for you. Good for you. How about you over there? What do you feel? No? You don't feel your passion? You can't find your peace? I was there. So here's the truth, there's nothing wrong with pursuing um, and being driven and having ambition. But I would caution to say, first of all, your job is something you do. Your job is not who you are. It is something that you do. I would also caution to say that there's nothing wrong with chasing success, but not all success is good. Some success is a terrible success to chase. My job that happened to me. Like many of you, I've chased it. I've gone up that ladder. I've carried the luggage. I've got my crossbody bag, my messenger bag, my suitcase, and it got heavier and heavier the more I tried to climb it. But I was blind. I kept going for it until it was kicked from under me. And yes, I felt like I was tumbling. I tumbled with those bags and all of my successes. How dare them? But I couldn't be mad at them. They gave me a chance. But I couldn't be mad at them because it was their dream after all. It was their passion. I just no longer fit. I was no longer part of that puzzle. So I allowed myself to go through the motions. I allowed myself to grieve. I allowed myself to feel. I felt so many things. I felt scared. I felt insecure. I felt like a failure. I felt like I treated and they tricked. I felt like a hypocrite. I felt judged like I was a slacker, and that's why I got displaced. Oh my goodness. I felt devalued. I felt like I just simply wasn't going to be able to pick up the pieces and really move on, at least not as quickly as I'd like to. I was embarrassed. I was prideful. I was empathetic to so many things around me. I just felt like the rug was pulled from under me, and I couldn't breathe because I've dedicated and I've given so much of myself. But who was still there? My family. So I had to give myself grace and space. And I gave myself grace because I had to look back and realize, I've I've done this. I've acquired so much in all that time, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I realized I was harder on myself than my family ever was. I expected so much more from myself than my family ever did. All they ever really wanted was my quality time. I mean, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of quality time meant way more than 30 minutes of my mere physical presence. I think about the time when my daughter and my baby girl, we had COVID at the same time. So we were isolated in a room. And um, we were isolated for like 8 days in the room. Um, my wonderful husband and daughter waited on us. They would bring us some food, leave it at the door. Um, my baby girl and I, we watched countless movies. We acted silly. We had pillow fights. And we just, I mean, I gave her so many hairstyles. We just had a wonderful time, an amazing time. And I'm like, wow. So a few years later, when I told my daughter I wasn't feeling well, she says, "Oh, I hope we both get COVID again." And I was like, "Why would you say that?" And she says, "Because I will never forget that time that we were stuck in the room for 8 days. I never wanted a positive, I didn't want a negative test to come back because I wanted us to continue to have COVID because I enjoyed our time together. Mom, remember we did this? Mom, remember we did that?" And oh my God, that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I really wasn't present for my baby girl like I thought I was. Imagine that. Would you, if you were to leave this world today, would you have that regret? And it may not be a child, it may be that special other one, or it may be another priority you had in your life. You just don't want to have any regrets, and especially one that hits you like that. So I went to the sandbox with the idea of having fun but working hard. But that wasn't what my sandbox was like. I only got buried deeper. And when I was finally plucked out, when that ladder was kicked from under me, I was like, well, that's no fun. So I took time and like I said, I gave myself the space to realize and to assess what is my passion? What is my purpose? I don't ever want to be in a position to have one ladder, also known as one stream of income, kicked out from under me. That one big tall ladder was borrowed. And yes, I say borrowed because it didn't belong to me. I had no control over that. When they wanted to kick me off their ladder, they had every right to do that. Who am I? So what I've started doing was creating my own little step stools. Yes, they're my own little step stools. I have control over them. And one of them I will share is I started thrifting and reselling full time. I've opened up my business. And I tell you, no, it doesn't bring in the income I used to have, but it also doesn't bring in the stress that I used to have. I have freedom. Nothing can replace freedom. You can't put a value to it. I have time that I can spend with my family, and I don't have to ask permission to take off. I don't have to promote myself or demote myself. I get out what I put in. I have hired my children. I'm teaching them the value of money. That in and of itself is a great feat. And like I said, no, the income is not what it used to be, nowhere near. I have to think twice about, 3 times about some things. You know, if I want to go out to eat, if I want to treat myself to a nice cup of coffee, I have to think twice. And the bills, yeah, they're still coming in. They're sticking closer than a sister. But I'm not worried. I'm not stressed. I'm grateful that I'm at peace. It's not gonna, you know, it hasn't happened overnight. It's going on 4 years. But God is sustaining me in this little business I have. That's one step stool. The other step stool I have, yes, it's a part-time. I can't even say it's a part-time. I'm a lice technician. I share this in one of my other videos. Yes, I said lice technician. I get to go in. I have the privilege of providing what you call like a concierge service, visiting clients who are experiencing the stress of lice in their hair. Um, and I get to provide that service to them. And that's not the main service that I'm providing to them. What I'm realizing is, and what my experience has been, is I can go into maybe the wealthiest neighborhood. I mean, I've treated attorneys, I've treated doctors, I've treated high position clients, and then I've also treated those who are not as fortunate and they're struggling. But guess what's the same? I hear the struggles of those who are all the way up that ladder just as much, if not more, than I do for those who are kind of struggling. That story is almost seamless across the board. It places in perspective for me. I would never want to trade my peace for a dollar. I can always make a dollar. I can always make a minute with my family. I can't always um, replace the peace that I have now. And I have this thought that the more money you make, wonderful. But if your stress level is up there with the dollars, that's all probably going to go to medical bills anyway. Just little side note for me. So I've shared a couple of my step stools. The third one is starting this YouTube channel. Or really, I wouldn't say start. I've had this YouTube channel, but I'm repurposing it because I realized that my life is something that I can share. My experiences are something that I can share with you. And hopefully, like I said, help the next person. If you're struggling, if you are thinking about leaving your job, this is not professional advice by any stretch of the imagination. You have to make the assessment for yourself. I simply am hopeful that you would think about maintaining your personal passion, your personal peace as you are climbing this one income ladder, because that's where I was. That one tall ladder was one income stream. And again, when it was kicked out from under me, it was scary. And I was the breadwinner of my family. My husband is wonderful. He's a great supporter. He's retired. So we have his Social Security income. But I'm also doing these odd and end jobs to help with that. But I'm okay with that. And um, you could be too. I I don't know you. You don't know me. But part of my goal is to inspire you. And if this resonates with you, I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Um, please make a comment, share your story. I am interested in hearing what your thoughts are and what you're going through and how you've overcome it. What are you doing today to maintain your peace and your passion? Um, I'm going to share the side note. It is random, but I feel the need to share this too. It took me the longest to even start this channel, to do my first video, because I am missing a tooth. I know you didn't notice it. I'm kidding. But hey, I wanted to do that, and I did not delay because I wanted you to see the authentic me and to let you know and inspire you that, it's not the physical attributes. Maybe that helps draw more people, but that's not what I'm here for. And I hope that you don't let things like that stop you. Eventually, you might have something prettier to look at. I'll get it fixed at some point in time. But in the meantime, I'm not going to let that stop me. I can still speak. Hopefully, you can still hear me clearly. And there's that. But I want to put that out there. And again, maintain your peace, maintain your passion. And for more information, or if you want to hear more about peace and how I'm doing it and what my reflections are when it comes to peace, check out my peace video series. You don't want to miss it. Until next time, peace.